I am so far overdue what I'm doing right now. I have a little project. I'm going out to what we call the orchard. It's just a small area with some fruit trees. Not like a massive orchard where 30 feet are in between the trees. These are more like 10 feet spread, and then there's an aisle with 12 feet, and then there's a center aisle with maybe 24 feet. Anyway, I never wrote down the names of the types of fruit on each of these trees. Now, last year was hard. We got in over our head. We bought too many plants. We went out of town for a while. So we came back. Some of the fruit trees were dead. That was a big bummer. And then this year, we don't actually know which ones are fully alive because some of them haven't started putting on buds. They haven't started putting on buds yet. And so I kind of have to wait. Okay, so this apple is a maybe. We have a Honeycrisp right here. I don't see any buds for sure. But then I look at this tree over here. This is a different type of apple. And with apples, you want lots of different varieties. And this one has some new growth. I don't know if you can see that. The sun is crazy bright. Some new growth and some actual buds. So this one is definitely alive. And let's look at this one. This is a Jonna Gold. Yes, we have new growth and actual buds. And then, what's this one? I think this one's another Honeycrisp. We have farms around here that grow Honeycrisp, and when you pull one off of a tree, it's a fruit that I have never tasted before. I've had Honeycrisp apples from the grocery store, but I have never tasted a real off-the-tree Honeycrisp apple until I moved here to Indiana. It was so delicious. So we're definitely doing 2, possibly 3 trees of this apple. But look, this one has growth and buds. So possibly that Honeycrisp down there didn't make it. And then I have this one, which I know for sure. Wait. Is that a bud? Okay, I'm 90% sure this one's dead, because it was dead before we put it in the ground. It's a Granny Smith. And although most people don't like to eat Granny Smiths because they're so sour, they're great for pies, and they're actually really low on the glycemic index. So if you can't eat a super sweet apple because of sugar intake, you can usually eat a Granny Smith. And they're actually just, once you get used to them, ooh, delicious. So I'll have to replace the Granny Smith. Anyway, what I'm going to be doing is making a chart of varieties and types of fruit trees that we have here. We have mostly apple with 1 pear down there.
I'm pretty sure this one's dead.
Cherries. Yeah, that stick. That stick is definitely dead. Don't move it though, because that's where the next tree is going. So we've got cherries all here. I'm a little nervous about the cherries. I don't know if they made it. It was the drought. We had a drought. We thought it would rain while we were gone, and it didn't. Peaches right here, and then we have other stone fruit. I'm actually probably going to put another cherry or 2 right here, because what I didn't know when I planted these was that this giant walnut tree can actually interfere with the growth of certain trees. So as the roots go down, it puts out like a poison. It's called juglone, and it can actually poison other plants. So you can lose grass, you can lose other trees. So you wouldn't want to put an apple or a pear anywhere near a walnut tree, but you can put a peach, I think a nectarine, I think a plum, and I think a cherry. So I need to go and double check all of those and make sure they're good, but that's what's going to be right here. And I did that on accident for the most part. I did put my cherries on the other side, so if I need to replace some of the cherries, I'll put some of them over here too. But I'm making my chart today, finally, probably about a year late. All right, we'll start up here. Now this, is wonderful. It's alive. Look at that new growth right there. Now I will need to spend some time doing what I did here on this one branch. I was learning how to do it last year. You know, then I got distracted by something else. But this one right at the front is a pear, kefir type, and then that is a pear also. And so you really want to have, with certain plants, you really want to have 2 of them, so that they will have the best chance of getting fertilized by the bees. This is a peach tree over here that has had much trouble since we moved in. Part of it fell off. We repaired it, but look at all these buds. Now I need to look at my book, my orchard book, and find out what I need to spray on these. I have lots of organic sprays that I can make and spray on these so that the little bud bugs don't come and start living in this tree. All right, so here's my chart. It doesn't look like anything special, but I put my pear out here because most of them start right here, but I wanted the pear to be sort of in the vicinity of that pear. So I'm gonna start labeling these. I can't do it with my phone in my hand, unfortunately. So I'll show you what I'm doing in just a minute. Okay, this Honeycrisp, I think that is, yep, that's growth. So this one's not even a maybe. This one has some new growth. Very good. Okay, quick update. The pear tree's good. Both Honeycrisp, good. Gala, good. John Gold, good. And the Granny Smith is the only one of the apples that I'm absolutely sure needs to be replaced. And I have space for one more. And eventually when we move some things, maybe even a second one, but this is where I'm ending it for right now for absolute sure. I can't believe they're doing so well. I'm very excited. Okay, with this one, this is one of the cherries. I'm having trouble discerning whether this is a new bud or something that happened last year. I may have to wait to know for sure on this one. This is a Chilean cherry. That's a maybe. All right, this is pretty telling. And these are wonderful. I can pull these out for sure and make them go lateral. I love these. But look at all this new budding that's happening on this North Star cherry. And that pretty much tells me that that one didn't make it. So I'm not going to replace it quite yet, but I'm going to be ready to replace it. So it's not as good. Oh wait, this is another one that was dead here. I don't even know what it was. Dead. So it's actually six that I lost. I've been a bad tree mom. But I have all this room for others, but I need to replace the ones that I need to replace. These two could grow, but they don't look like they're growing. So here's a quick pan of our little orchard, teeny little orchard. And what I mean by small is most orchards are acres and acres and the trees are massive. These are going to stay small. We're going to keep them really small through pruning twice a year. And they're only 10 feet apart. And then these aisles, except for the center aisle, I love this wide center aisle, but these aisles are only 12 feet apart. So I'm going to come in here in the early spring, late summer, and take back a good amount of this growth so that these stay really low and wide. We want them to just barely touch between and still have some room in this aisle to walk. I've planted some daffodils around a couple of these. I'll continue to do that. A ring of daffodils around each one should help with the burrowing animals. And then I'd like to fill in this kind of pasture look in between the rows of trees. I think that'd be really nice. So we actually have a ton of wild and naturalized tiny like all around our yard. And so as we move those out of our garden spaces, I just want to put them here. For example, there's like 4 or 5 varieties that were wonderful surprises last year as the spring went on and we just kept seeing new and different flowers replace the old ones. It was so cool. Anyway, a lot of these trees are gone. The apples did great. The cherries definitely struggled. Before I planted them, they were pretty much goners, which is so sad. But we got new ones, and so we're going to be replacing these. And a lot of those are still pretty good. But we did get a whole bunch more. So I think we lost a total of 6, including these sticks hanging back in the back, and we bought 9 more. It's just a gradual thing, learning process. And I know it seems like a waste when you look at the price of a tree and then go, because I think this apricot was like $35, and you go, oh, what a waste. You know, I lost a tree last year, didn't get any fruit from it. But you know, you can spend $35 on a dozen roses at Valentine's Day. So I do have to put it in perspective and not be super hard on myself. And the ones that are going to grow are already establishing themselves. So I'm really excited about that. But we got quite a few trees. So over the next day or so, we're going to be taking out some of the ones that are definitely dead and replacing and extending the orchard. That'll be really fun. One more thing. So between these trees, it's actually pretty annoying to get even the riding lawnmower out in between these, and it just takes a long time. So my idea was, why don't we just mow down the middle of the aisles, and then in between, let's plant something else, something small that won't take nutrients from the soil, may actually attract bees to the area and help with pollination. So in between each of these trees, I just ordered my first ones. I'm going to plant strawberries right in the ground, maybe with a layer of thick compost in between there. That way we won't have to mow around every single tree. So I've got 4 varieties of strawberries coming, and it's going to be kind of an experiment. So we've got, I think, 2 June bearing and 2 ever bearing, and we'll just see what does best. Now I guess it's not going to be a pure experiment because we do have this walnut here, and I'm not sure how strawberries do under a walnut. So my guess is the ones we plant over here are definitely going to do better, but it'll be fun anyway.